In his book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki talks about his two fathers, where one of his father was a well-qualified PhD holder who eventually struggled with his finances like a normal middle-class person. On the other side, Robert titled his friend's father as his second dad, who barely finished 8th grade but ended up being one of the richest person in Hawaii. Robert, at the age of 9, asked his father about how to get rich. But as his father didn't thought he's qualified to answer his question, so the conversation ended up by Robert getting a response by his father saying, "Use your head." Robert discussed this scenario with his friend Mike, and they decided to make some moves to become rich. They started collecting metallic toothpaste tubes from the neighborhood and molded them in order to make coins out of it. Though this was a flop business, but was appreciated by Robert's father. In response to their efforts towards becoming rich, Robert's father suggested them to meet Mike's dad, as he was a businessman and much qualified to answer their questions. They approached Mike's dad, and he made an offer to them, where they had to work on Saturdays at 10 cents per hour. And in return, he would teach them both how to become rich, to which they both agreed. After 3 weeks, Robert felt underwhelmed about his pay scale and decided to talk about this. He complained about his low wages, not teaching them to become rich, etc. To this, Mike's dad responded by saying, "Your life is your teacher and it just pushes you around in order to learn." He further added, "If you don't learn this lesson, you will keep blaming your job, your boss, your low pay for the rest of your life. And if you do, then you will grow up into a wise person. And I designed this offer to mirror your real-life job situation. The moment you ask for a raise thinking that you'll win, you end up playing safe and become terrified about taking risks, which makes you more of a miserable person because you really want to win, but the fear of losing was greater than the excitement of winning. Most people follow this track and quit and look for other opportunity, carrying the same mindset throughout, which doesn't affect their financial conditions in any way. The difference between rich and poor is that poor and middle class work for money, and the rich have money work for them. This is my first lesson to you both. After 3 weeks later, Mike's dad called them both and said, "What if I raise your pay scale by $2? It was indeed tempting to Robert and Mike, but they kept their mouths shut. Later, he hiked it to $5 an hour, and they realized that it was a trap, and Rich Dad wanted us to avoid falling into this trap. They didn't want us to make our decisions emotionally, neither under any fear nor under greed." Rich Dad replied, "I want you to expand your point of view so that you can see something most people couldn't because their vision is narrow and they don't see the traps they are entangled into." He further added, "Job is a temporary solution to one's long-term problem, irrespective of how much do they pay. Because as your pay increases, so does your greed, desire, and fear." Robert asked, "How do we avoid this trap?" Mike's dad replied, "By learning to use your emotions to think deep, then to think with your emotions. Because your fear and desire can lead you into life's biggest trap if you're not aware of them controlling your thinking. If you think job makes you secure, then it's the biggest lie you've been telling yourself." Rich Dad ended the session by saying, "Most people are too afraid to rationally think and head for jobs after jobs. And I'll teach you to have a choice of thoughts so you can control your money along with your life.